The good thing about having a video and audio course is you're able to listen to it over and over and over again. And I talked about in several videos that I personally spend between 2 to 3 months studying for any one exam. Hello, welcome back to Privacy Professional Training. Today's video, I wanted to talk about resources to assist you with studying for your CIPP US examination. So for anybody that's brand new here, my name is Fumi Olabi. I created Privacy Professional Training to assist students with passing their privacy exams. The bulk of the courses and books that I've created are based on my personal experience with passing different privacy exams. I currently work as a privacy professional and I provide advisory to clients on how to build, optimize, and grow their privacy programs. So without further ado, let's talk about the resources. I have created a course. It is available on Udemy. I will leave a link below. I want to talk you through what the resources are and how it may suit you depending on how you like to study. So I've made a series of videos on this channel about how I personally study for certifications. I generally take one certification a year. I will be taking one in 2026. So stay tuned. I'm planning to do a bunch of videos to help you see the process that I personally take when I take certifications. But this video is specifically about the CIPP US exam for anybody that's studying for the test and is looking for additional resources. So the course that I created on Udemy, it is a video course and you get some additional resources with it. It is 17 hours of listening to audio related to each domain within the CIPP US exam. So the exam itself is 90 questions. You have 2.5 hours to complete those 90 questions. The videos that I have created are to assist you in your studies. I have also put together a guidebook that you can use to supplement the audio recordings. I personally like to both read and listen. I've talked about this in my other videos that I have taken in terms of courses. I have always found it very valuable to have something in the background because I work in my house. So I put together the course because I thought it would be useful for students who like to supplement their studies using the official textbook. I have talked about using the official IAPP textbook for every single exam I've ever taken. But in addition to that, I think it's useful to have in your resource library a number of different ways in which you learn best. So when I was taking the CISSP exam, I talked about how I listened to audio recordings, and you can take a look at that video. I will leave it in the cards above. Specifically for the CISSP exam that I took, I made sure that I had information from LinkedIn Learning. There was a lot of resources, and it was also one of the things that encouraged me to create Privacy Professional Training so that people had a lot of wealth of information when they're preparing for these tests. And one thing that I will say for this particular video is that as you prepare for the test, you recognize that the influence on the questions for the tests are based on what's happening geographically in that specific scenario. So for example, the CIPP US exam has just changed slightly because the privacy sphere has evolved since the test was originally created. So it's really important that you're using resources that are up to date to accommodate for changes in the exam. And if you are like me and you like to listen while you're working, or you like to have something on in the background, it's a very passive way to help you to retain information. And if you're anything like me, I think that when you listen to things over and over, you actually start to memorize some of it. And I find that really useful. And I feel like some students might find that really useful, which is why I created the course. So I've created the course. It's 17 hours of listening. Obviously, you don't have to listen to it all at once. It's split into sections. And then it also has questions for you to take after every module. So there's several modules that cover all of the different modules that you'll encounter for the exam. There's healthcare privacy, there's US state laws, there's education, all of the different domains that you're going to encounter for the CIPP US exam. You're going to see audio recordings of me talking through different key concepts that you'll need to know. In addition to that, there are questions at the end that you can take to test your knowledge. So let's say, for example, you are going to listen to 2 to 3 hours a day of the course. So you listen to 2 to 3 hours a day, it's 17.5 hours. So in 8 days, you would have listened to the whole thing, right? But obviously you don't retain everything that you listened to that first time around. The really good thing about having a video and audio course is you're able to listen to it over and over and over again. And I talked about in several videos that I personally spend between 2 to 3 months studying for any one exam. And even though a lot of these bodies will give you an average amount of time to study, I personally like to make sure that I pass my exams the first time I take them. So giving myself extra time to make sure that I really understand the key concepts needed for the test is really important to me personally. And I know it's important to you too, because you wouldn't be taking the privacy exam if you didn't want to pass it. So if you listen to it, let's say you do 2 to 3 hours a day, it's a 17.5-hour course, and you listen to it for 8 days, then you can listen to it, let's say there's 30 days in a month. If you have it on in the background for 2 to 3 hours a day, you could have listened to the course 3 times in 1 month. So let's say you take 2 months for your exam. And the reason I keep putting these numbers is because I always look at things from a numbers game, and you'll see that in my videos. I pass things out because I appreciate that people that are studying for privacy exams have many different obligations that are going on. I don't just study for exams. I told you guys at the beginning of this video that I actually have client work that I do. So I have to be very strategic with my time. And that's why I really like having audio recordings, because it's very active for you to be reading the textbook. But if you have something that's playing in the background and you are able to time it out, then you're going to be able to have listened to the entire course 3 times through in 1 month. And if you take 2 months to study for it, then you've listened to it over 6 times, which is quite good. Outside of the questions that you're answering, the question books that you're purchasing, outside of the official IAPP textbook, you're putting more in your bank to be able to understand the concepts very clearly. Now, do I think that this resource independently is going to be sufficient? No, I don't think that any one resource should be relied on exclusively for passing these tests. But I do think that having different resources that you can tap into based on how you study best is going to be very useful for you to be able to pass your CIPPUS exam. So this is specifically for the CIPPUS exam studiers. I will be doing more videos on, different techniques that I use, but I think every single video for privacy professional training is going to look at managing your time, because that is so important, especially when you have competing priorities like myself. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. The course itself is 17.5 hours. I have put together a guidebook, and there are over 400 questions that you can practice with. So, if you manage your time carefully to be able to listen to this thing over and over, yes, it might be a bit burdensome, but think about the end goal. The end goal is for you to get those letters after your name and to be able to secure work in the privacy space. Otherwise, you wouldn't be taking any of these exams. So that's essentially the end goal. How am I going to get there? And then you strategize and you list it out. And I have a video on this channel about how I create a study schedule for myself to ensure that I am at least covering some material every single day. And my own personal motto for myself is a little bit is better than a lot. If you try and cram it, you're not going to be able to build that foundation that you need, particularly if you are brand new to the privacy industry. Now, everybody studies differently. I have definitely encountered people that have been able to cram for the weekend and pass the test. That is not my forte. I need time, and I need to be able to really understand the material, because the exam goes really quickly. You have a very limited amount of time to answer the question. You don't have time to really think through the concepts. You need to kind of be 70 to 80% of the way there before you even sit for the test. So I really hope that you found this video valuable. If you would like to purchase the course, I will leave a link below. If you are looking for other resources for other privacy exams, I have plenty of videos, and I will see you guys in a different video.